Welcome to a special edition of Tom Sox Conversations, the countdown to the MLB draft coming up this week. I'm Zach Hamilton. We've got special guest, former Tom Sox Dominic D'Alessandro with us here today, residing from a very comfortable New Jersey. Dom, how are you doing? How are you taking in all of this time off?
I'm good, Zach. Thanks for having me on here. I just been trying to keep busy as much as I can. One cool thing I did do during this break period is I built a computer. So that was pretty cool. So trying to keep myself busy, learn new things.
Yeah, I could never possibly build a computer. That's just not something I could do.
It wasn't that bad. Only took a couple hours.
Yeah. Okay. You built a computer in a couple hours. That's even more.
It's not that bad. I promise you.
All right. Well, let's look back at your last season, your first full season in pro ball with the Red Sox in the Gulf Coast League. You hit almost 300. You had a very good season, almost 40 games. What was the experience like transitioning from the college game that you'd gotten used to and comfortable with into pro ball?
I think the biggest thing was consistent velocity. So I went to George Washington, which is a mid-major school. We were good. We faced a lot of good competition. We also faced some competition where you'll face like mid-80s. So one weekend we'll face 85 at a school, and then we'll play West Virginia and face someone throwing 95, 97. That was a big difference. But you see it every day, so you get used to it in with the Red Sox. So it makes up for it. It's just like the velo. That's the biggest difference for sure, because you might actually get better pitchers per se in college, like guys who can mix stuff up. But in the minors, it's all about, at least the low minors where I've seen, it's all about velocity. They're just going to try to attack you and blow by you.
So what did you take from your time in Charlottesville with your summer ball opportunities? You absolutely raked when you were in Charlottesville, in case anyone's forgotten. Light tower power is what I always used to say when you come to the plate, because you could just mash a baseball. I was always blown away when you connect. What could you take away from your time in Charlottesville, really getting a mixture of guys, some of those guys that you talked about, like an Evan Justice that was with you that could throw 95, and then other guys that were throwing mid-80s?
I mean, it just shows how diverse baseball is. So, yeah, we have the guys like Evan who can just blow it by you, and like a couple other guys. Then you got some guys who may play like Division III, but they're making these Division I hitters look silly just because of the way they pitch. So I think that was pretty cool to see guys at the lower levels of college who can easily just compete with guys at D1 levels and high D1 levels, that is.
Your season in Charlottesville was an eventful one. You were an all-star. You had a lot of success, had a lot of fun while you were in Seville. What is your favorite memory looking back on your time in Charlottesville?
I think going to the Boys and Girls Club a couple Sundays, that was cool. Just has an impact on the community, you know. I think we had some things planned with the Red Sox to do some stuff like that, but didn't get the opportunity. So it was really cool to do that in Charlottesville and just try to you become a lot more thankful for what you do have just from seeing that, and it makes you feel good too, helping the kids out.
Helping the kids out is always a nice thing to do, especially the Tom Sox organization that love to give back to the community up there in Charlottesville. When you look at your time from Charlottesville and into your senior season, I believe you were nursing a little bit of a back injury at one point as well. What was that transition back like? How did being with the Tom Sox help you for your senior season?
So the injury, it was they thought I had a hip labrum tear, but it turns out it's a lot more minor than that, and I got a cortisone shot and it knocked it out completely. So that's good, but I did have to cut my season short. Unfortunately, just the playoffs. But what was the second half of the question? Sorry.
How did your time in Charlottesville translate to your senior season?
It was good. So it's just seeing more pitchers. You know, it's just consistency, getting used to velo, because we would face velo. So just seeing that more and more, and you also get to have a little more fun in summer ball. You get to see what you can do. You know, you're not necessarily you're always playing for the team. You're not necessarily ever getting bunts down, nothing like that. So when time comes, you can really let it loose, and that was a lot of fun. Which you can do that sometimes in college, but not as much as summer ball.
What was the process like being scouted by pro scouts, and when did that really start for you, and how did that transition until the time you heard your name called?
So in high school, I wasn't scouted at all. I walked on at a D1 JUCO in Florida, went there, played for 3 weeks, and just wasn't the place for me. So then I transferred back home to a JUCO in Jersey, Gloucester County College, and that was my freshman season, which I really started to do well there. I led the country in home runs, and I had a couple scouts looking at me, in particular the Reds. So that was when that was like the first time I actually talked to a pro scout. And then sophomore year, it really picked up. Unfortunately, I only DH'd in freshman and sophomore year of college, so I wasn't able to get that many looks because of that. I always hit well. Like, I was an All-American there twice. I do think I should have got drafted, but I think it was the position-wise. And then I went to George Washington. I played multiple positions there. Like, my first year as a junior, I DH'd, I played first, outfield. So that was good. So I showed a little bit of versatility. I struggled going from JUCO to Division I at first because you do face more consistent pitching in Division I, and pitchers can actually throw and like mix pitches around. So I struggled at the beginning a little bit, but then I finished off strong, finished off 318. So I had a couple looks then, but I think I had in my mind that I probably wasn't going to get drafted because it wasn't a like super standout season for someone it was not bad. Like, I hit 318 with 9 home runs, which is good, but I always knew I could do better. So I finished my degree at GW, and I mean, it must have been some luck involved because I don't know how I hit that well my senior year. It was kind of insane, but that was when I think I had 20, 25 teams talking to me about drafting me. And then I heard my name called from the Red Sox.
And then, of course, being a New Jersey guy, what's it like being a Red Sox?
So I grew up a Phillies fan. I'm only 25 minutes outside of Philly. So I've always been a Phillies guy. And then the Yankees, you're either like a Phillies or Yankees fan, or you hate the Yankees and you're a Phillies fan. And I was that kind of guy growing up. I wasn't a huge fan of the Yankees. So I always rooted for the Red Sox. And they were always like my second favorite team because of it. So I'm not mad about it. I love being a Red Sox right now. Treat their guys really well too.
Yeah, I can imagine. I remember my days with George Mason. I always saw you guys on the schedule. I'm like, I gotta go play GW again. Here we go. And then you'd always be right there in the middle of the lineup. And I knew you before your time in Charlottesville from watching you play. And I always knew that you were a big power threat. And then we saw that in Charlottesville. You mentioned your 9 home runs in, I believe it was your junior season at GW. What's it like playing in a park like Seville Weekly Ballpark in Charlottesville where the ball just does not carry, except for you, apparently?
You know, I went there, I saw the dimensions of the field, and I was so excited. And then I hit a ball, my first at-bat at Charlottesville, crushed it, and it just barely got over the fence. So, I mean, it was a wake-up call. Like, I got to get into these balls for them to go. I mean, it was apparent, like, in the season. Like, I hit some balls that probably would have went out some other parks, but, I mean, it doesn't really matter. You know, we won a lot of games, had a good fan base. It is what it is. I had fun playing. That's really all that matters.
I remember doing play-by-play for that first game where you hit that home run. And I remember, and I'm sure our producer, David Argo, can find the video of this, where I looked at my color guy and I was like, I know this guy. He's got a lot of power, and literally the next pitch, you hit the home run.
Got to see a lot of him. Unfortunately for Mason, a lot of him equals a lot of power and a lot of balls that travel over the fence to right.
That one's crushed. Crushed to deep center. So deep it's gone. Home run, D'Alessandro. Man, that was a shot.
There's the
you
power.
called it.
There's the power I was talking to. He actually went with his pull side this time to left center field, and that is an absolute no-doubter.
I mean, that thing went straight bomb out to center field.
You made me look very smart, and you made me seem very smart for the rest of the summer just because I happened to have seen you play before. So thank you for that. And if you, I'm sure you talk with other GW guys that are still in college, still coming up through different universities. What's your recommendation to them when they're looking at different places to go play for the summer? What things do you tell them that they should look for in a summer opportunity?
I think good competition and a good place to be where you can keep your head straight. And I've never got the chance to play in the Coastal Plains or I forget they won up in like Michigan or something. I forget what that's called.
Northwoods League.
Yeah, Northwoods. And I mean, I personally, I'm going to have to deal with it eventually, these 9-hour bus rides for minor leagues. But at that point in college, I mean, that's probably really tough to get through a whole season because they play like every day too. They have a huge season. So I tell them just go play where you can be happy. And I mean, honestly, unless it's the Cape Cod League, I think the Valley is the way to go. I really do. Just because short bus rides, good fan base. Charlottesville, I mean, you can't beat that. Other places, a little iffy in the Valley if you're going to go play for those teams because Charlottesville's so much nicer. But, yeah, I mean, I tried getting a couple guys going to Charlottesville, but they already had a different place. So a couple guys from GW.
Yeah, that would have been great. I know that a lot of schools in the A10 like to send their players into the Valley League. It's a very good league, as you mentioned. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the fan base in Charlottesville before we wrap this up? Because you never really got to say that goodbye that you probably wanted to say. Your season, like you mentioned before, kind of ended a little abruptly.
Yeah, I mean, just keep coming out and supporting the guys. I mean, that's huge. Everybody appreciates it, especially guys that come from places that don't get that many fans. You know, like George Washington, like in conference, yes, we get a lot of fans, but a lot of like midweek games, you wouldn't get that many fans. So I think coming out and supporting those guys at those lower levels, just it's a great thing. You know, it gives them something to play for, a little more like, I don't know, it just pushes them a little more, you know, to perform their best.
Well, thank you for taking the time to chat with us today. Like I said, this has been a special edition countdown to the MLB draft of Tom Sox Conversations. Make sure you like and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, the works, and check out the Valley Baseball League for great content all summer long. It might not be a season this year, but there's going to be plenty of content coming out of the Valley Baseball League and the Charlottesville Tom Sox Dom. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.